Did Samsung anticipate the foldable iPhone more than 10 years ago? This year, Apple might finally join the foldable phone market, but according to fresh speculations, the company has been studying Samsung's efforts for more than 10 years. The form, size, and aspect ratio of Apple's first foldable iPhone may be derived from a Samsung design that is so archaic it appears virtually prehistoric, assuming those rumors are accurate. Go back to 2013, when the now-defunct Windows Phone operating system was barely 3 years old. Samsung marketed a folding phone at CES that year, presenting a fake product. Although the advertising itself was a bit odd, the message was obvious. This was Samsung's perspective of where phones may go if foldable displays were realistic. In 2026, foldables will no longer be considered a scientific experiment. With 3 commercially accessible form factors to date, the Flip, the Fold, and the TriFold, Samsung's foldables span multiple generations. There are currently suspicions that Samsung is planning a 4th design. According to rumors, the so-called Galaxy-wide Fold has a wider aspect ratio than the present Z Fold, making it more pleasant to view films and consume other forms of media on the larger inner display. Interestingly, there are predictions that Apple's next iPhone Fold will arrive after Samsung. It's probable that both devices will share proportions that resemble an obsolete Samsung CES 2013 prototype. Take a look at the screenshot. Indeed, the concept existed 6 years before the first Galaxy Fold. It was merely an idea presented in an overblown commercial video at the time. However, in hindsight, it's tough not to ask whether Samsung had the right formula for an iPhone Fold more than 10 years ago. This does not suggest that Apple's first foldable iPhone or the Galaxy-wide Fold will be faultless. That is still up for dispute. Nevertheless, it's impossible not to be impressed if Apple ends up delivering a foldable that resembles a Samsung proposal from CES 2013. Samsung was exploring the right foldable form factor long before the technology was ready to make it a reality, whether you call it foresight or simply sheer creative ambition. Next, the iPhone Fold design may have been leaked by a case maker. A Turkish manufacturer claims to have revealed photographs of the iPhone Fold mold. The iPhone Fold, the company's first foldable smartphone, is undoubtedly going to be Apple's biggest release this year. And we're starting to get a reasonable concept of what to anticipate. The device's full design is now out, and last week we saw the screen for the first time. Supposedly, images of what it claims is the iPhone Fold mold have been released on Instagram by a Turkish business. This refers to a device's metal cast, which case makers use to guarantee their casings match the final design. Although manufacturers have their own means of collecting the exact dimensions to guarantee they are available on day one, Apple is known for not providing the measurements of new iPhones to outside case makers. According to the newspaper, the iPhone Fold will be roughly the size of an iPad mini when unfolded and around the size of an iPhone mini when closed. It looks to contain 2 rear-facing camera lenses in a straight rather than diagonal orientation, which is a substantial design enhancement over the iPhone Air, which the Fold is believed to follow. It's important to note that the mold looks to be a regular protruding camera module, comparable to those seen on the 16 series generation of iPhones, rather than a plateau when seen from the side. Additionally, there is a circular component on the back that appears to imply that MagSafe is incorporated. It goes without saying that firms who are trusted with Apple's secrets and then publicly share those secrets on social media won't be trusted for very long, since having access to pre-launch knowledge is a big competitive advantage. This sort of action is consequently relatively unusual and typically the product of a mistake or the conduct of an unhappy employee. However, it would be exceedingly uncommon for an accessory maker to acquire an official mold from Apple and then broadcast it online. This means that it's either a plausible fake or the firm obtained it from someplace else. We would urge skepticism in any scenario. An expert argues that Apple's foldable iPhone and AI-powered Siri are major drivers. One of Wall Street's must-watch AI stocks is Apple Incorporated. Wamsi Mohan, an analyst at Buffa Securities, reiterated on January 12 that the stock is a buy with a price target of $325. When the tech giant publishes its F1Q26 results on January 29 after markets close, business analysts predict favorable surprises, notably from the foldable iPhone and AI-enhanced Siri. The debut of a foldable iPhone and a better Siri with integration with Gemini AI, which may result in pressure upgrades, are 2 future catalysts that the business has underlined. Although Apple shares fell short at the beginning of 2026, sentiment looked to be excessively cautious. Apple is a technical corporation that is well known for its services, software, and consumer gadgets. Although we understand primarily the stock ticker symbol potential as an investment, we believe numerous AI stocks offer higher upside potential and lesser negative risk. See our free analysis on the best short-term AI stocks if you're hunting for a particularly inexpensive AI business that will also benefit tremendously from Trump-era tariffs and the onshoring trend. Over the years, anticipating an iPhone supercycle has proved to be just as tough as predicting an economic collapse. When it comes to anticipating a supercycle, many Apple gurus have failed. I still feel that investors are punishing Apple in a year loaded with positive drivers, even if it looks like none will ever come. With a price tag as high as $2,500, we believe the iPhone Fold to be rather pricey. However, with Samsung introducing its new TriFold phone at a price that scarcely increases from $3,000, it won't be the priciest smartphone available. Even if Samsung's earlier folding phone method didn't work out at all, the corporation is still keen to be the first to market with revolutionary advancements. It recently stated that its newest smartphone, which features 2 folds, will be on sale in the US at the end of this week. The Galaxy Z TriFold, which expands on the Fold series with a third half of a screen that unfolds to a wider 10-inch display, is Samsung's first new foldable form factor since the release of the Z Flip in 2020. Although the TriFold has been accessible in Korea and a few other nations for a few weeks, Samsung is pushing swiftly to deliver it to the US market. The Z TriFold will be available on Samsung.com and at Samsung Experience stores beginning on Friday, January 30, according to Samsung's announcement today. In the US, the Z TriFold will be priced at $2,899, which is much in line with our forecasts. That's coming pretty close to what a Vision Pro costs. Due to the device's fragility, Samsung's initial folding phone launch was so poor that all pre-orders had to be cancelled. It appears that the company might be worried about this one as well. Rumor has it that Samsung won't offer insurance coverage for the TriFold via its Care Plus program, and that it won't be accepted for device trade-ins. It doesn't exactly give you confidence when a corporation won't even offer you damage coverage at an additional fee. Next, for the iPhone Air 2 and probably future handsets, Apple is introducing a smaller Face ID. Today's iPhones and iPad Pros come equipped with Face ID, a biometric verification system made possible by Apple Silicon's secure enclave and true depth camera technology. Apple is apparently working on shrinking the true depth camera technology for the forthcoming iPhone Air, according to Instant Digital. Given that the iPhone Air begins at $999 and the standard iPhone 17 with 2 rear cameras starts at just $799, this would possibly eliminate one of the main disadvantages of the iPhone Air: its single rear camera, which is regarded as overpriced for what you're paying for. The iPhone Air's camera plateau is significant as it houses the bulk of the pieces required to maximize space economy, especially when including a very thick battery. Therefore, downsizing the Face ID component may offer a place for a second rear camera. The information has previously claimed that Apple was exploring integrating a second camera in a future iPhone Air variant, but according to current rumors, the next iPhone Air may be unveiled in the fall of 2026 with virtually minimal alterations. Additionally, Apple may incorporate this smaller Face ID component in a future edition of the iPhone Fold. The iPhone Air is certainly an experiment on how Apple may manufacture an iPhone Fold so thin without bending, since the iPhone Fold will be incredibly small when unfolded. According to reports, the first iPhone Fold might instead incorporate Touch ID on the side button, much like the iPad, iPad mini, and iPad Air. Redesigning the Face ID component for future iPhone Air and iPhone Fold models would make sense, as it would be practically impossible to integrate it into the slimmer shape of the forthcoming iPhone Fold. Future MacBooks may likely contain this small Face ID component. Later this fall, we expect the debut of new MacBook Pros, featuring OLED touch displays and a revolutionary design. Given how little these screens would be, it would be ideal for Apple to merge Face ID with the smaller, true-depth camera system. Since Touch ID is now accessible on MacBooks, and the Magic Keyboard with Touch ID is available for any Mac desktop, Apple has not yet integrated Face ID to any of its Mac products. According to Mark Gurman of Bloomberg, Apple did test Face ID for the iMac, but it was never adopted. So, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting tech news and updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.